Good morning, students. Today's pathology practical class is 34. Today we are going to deal with the histopath and specimens of mucinous cystadenoma ovary and teratoma. Now coming to the classification of ovarian tumors. You should know the classification. The classification includes tumors of surface epithelium, then we have the germ cell tumors, sex cord stromal tumors, miscellaneous tumors and metastatic tumors. Now coming to surface epithelial tumors, we have the serous tumors, mucinous tumor, endometrioid tumors, clear cell tumors and Brenner tumor. Now serous and mucinous, they are again divided into the benign counterpart, borderline counterpart and malignant counterpart. Then coming to the germ cell tumors, we have the teratomas, dysgerminoma, endodermal sinus tumors or yolk sac tumor, choriocarcinoma and others. And teratomas, they are again divided into benign, malignant or monodermal teratomas. In the sex cord stromal tumors, we have the granulosa theca cell tumors, Sertoli Leydig cell tumors, gynandroblastoma. In granulosa theca cell tumor, they are again divided into granulosa cell tumor, thecomas and fibromas. Now coming to the first one, that is a mucinous cystadenoma ovary. Mucinous cystadenoma ovary tumors are somewhat less common than serous and they constitute about 30% of all ovarian tumors. Over 80% are benign, 10 to 15% are borderline and 5% are malignant. These predominantly cystic tumors, they contain mucin, which was previously known as pseudomucin. Mucinous tumors occur principally between 2nd and 5th decades of life. Mucinous cystadenocarcinoma usually develops in women above the age of 40 years. In mucinous tumors, they can be associated with the mucinous ascites, so then it is known as pseudomyxoma peritoni. It is important to assess the state of the appendix because of the mucinous tumor of the ovary and appendix are clearly linked. Then another variant of mucinous cystadenoma is the mucinous carcinoma metastatic to the ovary having peculiar features. So this is known as Krukenberg tumor. Grossly, mucinous tumors are much larger than serous tumors. They are smooth surface cysts with characteristic multiloculations containing thick and viscid gelatinous fluid. Benign tumors generally have thin wall and septa dividing the loculi are also thin and often translucent, but malignant varieties usually have thickened areas. Now here you can see mucinous cystadenoma of the ovary. The cut surface shows a very large multilocular cyst with papillae and the cyst wall contains presence of loculi containing gelatinous mucoid material. Now this is a specimen mucinous cystadenoma of the ovary. Here you can see the specimen consists of an already cut open ovary measuring 10 centimeters in diameter. The cut section shows, you can see multiloculations, plenty of multiloculations are there and cysts of varying sizes can be noted and they contain mucinous whitish gelatinous material. Histologically, the most distinctive feature is the characteristic tall columnar non-ciliated epithelium similar to the intestinal type of endocervical Mullerian type lining the loculi. So you can see tall columnar epithelial cells here and you can see mucinous fluid and you can see plenty of mucinous vacuole. The mucinous cystadenoma ovary, the cyst wall and the septa are lined by, you can see single layer of tall columnar mucin secreting epithelium with the basally placed nuclei and large apical mucinous vacuoles. And this is the histopathology picture which you should draw in your practical record book of mucinous cystadenoma ovary. Same thing, here you can see the single layer of tall columnar epithelial cells and you can see luminal mucin. Now how to distinguish between the benign, borderline and malignant counterparts. The mucinous cystadenoma, which is the benign, it is lined by a single layer of these cells having basal nuclei, apical mucinous vacuoles. There is very little tendency to papillary proliferation of the epithelium. The tumors with more abundant stroma are called mucinous cystadenofibromas. The borderline counterpart of mucinous tumor is identified by the same histological criteria as for borderline serous tumor, that is stratification. Usually they are 2 to 3 cell thick of typical epithelium without stromal invasion. Whereas a malignant counterpart, that is a mucinous adenocarcinoma, likewise is characterized by piling up of the malignant epithelium. You can see at places forming solid sheets, papillary formation, adenomatous pattern and infiltration to the stroma with or without pools of mucin. Here you can see clearly the benign, borderline and malignant. The benign, you can see contains a single layer of tall columnar cells, and you can see the stroma, there is no invasion. Whereas the borderline, you can see the columnar epithelial cells have stratification. That means they are 2 to 3 cell layer thick. And you can see cellular ATPase is there in the columnar cells, but the stroma is uninvolved in the borderline. Whereas in the malignant counterpart, you can see plenty of anaplastic cells, you can see stromal invasion. So this is how you differentiate the surface epithelial tumors into benign, borderline and malignant. Coming to germ cell tumors. Now germ cell tumors are divided into the no differentiation tumors, primitive cells, intraembryonic differentiation, extraembryonic. In the intraembryonic differentiation, we have the mature, somatic and malignant. That is the mature cystic teratoma, somatic forms the immature teratoma and malignant forms a malignant teratoma. Whereas the extraembryonic differentiation is the yolk sac tumors and choriocarcinoma. Primitive cells form the embryonal carcinoma, and no differentiation forms a malignant germ cells. That means they have only one cell type, that is known as the dysgerminoma. Here we are going to concentrate on the intraembryonic differentiation, that is mature, somatic and malignant counterparts of teratoma. Now teratomas are tumors composed of different types of tissues derived from the 3 germ cell layers, ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. Teratomas are divided into 3 types: mature, that is a benign; immature, that is a malignant; and monodermal or highly specialized teratomas. Now we should know, so teratomas are divided into, they are composed of different types of tissues derived from the 3 germ cell layer. Now we should know what are the ectoderm variety, endoderm varieties and mesoderm varieties. Now ectoderm is the outer layer of the embryo, which contains epidermis of the skin and derivatives, which include sweat glands, hair follicles, nervous and sensory system, pituitary gland, adrenal medulla, jaws and teeth and germ cells. Whereas mesoderm is the middle layer of the embryo, that is mesoderm contains skeletal and muscular system, circulatory and lymphatic systems, excretory and reproductive systems, dermis of the skin and adrenal cortex. Endoderm is the inner layer of the embryo. So endoderm consists of epithelial lining of digestive tract, liver and pancreas, epithelial lining of respiratory tract, excretory and reproductive tract, thymus, thyroid, parathyroid glands. So these are the different tissues which are seen in the ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. We should remember this because they will be asked in the exam. What are the varieties of ectoderm? What are the different endoderms and what are the different mesoderms? Now mature benign teratomas. The vast majority of ovarian teratomas are the benign and cystic and have the predominant ectodermal elements. Ecto meaning they contain epidermis of skin, nervous tissue, hair follicles, sweat glands, pituitary gland, jaws and teeth. So primitively they contain ectodermal elements. Infrequently, mature teratoma may be solid and benign, has to be distinguished from immature or malignant teratoma. Grossly, the benign cystic teratoma or dermoid cyst is characteristically a unilocular cyst, that is a single cyst having 10 to 15 centimeters in diameter, usually lined by skin and hence its name. On sectioning, the cyst is filled with paste-like sebaceous secretions and desquamated keratin admixed with masses of hair. Here you can see the cyst wall will be thin, opaque, grey-white. Sometimes you can see a protuberance. One area of the cyst will contain a solid prominence which is known as the Rokitansky protuberance, where tissue elements such as tooth, bone, cartilage, that is hard material, can be seen. Now here you can see this is a gross specimen of a dermoid cyst of the ovary. The ovary is enlarged, shows a large unilocular cyst, that is a single cyst containing hair, containing pultaceous material, that is sebaceous material, and bony tissue. Now this is the gross photo of the dermoid cyst of ovary. Here you can see it is attached to the uterus also. So this is a specimen consisting of uterus and cervix, measuring 8 cross 4 cross 3 centimeter, along with an ovarian cyst. The ovarian cyst is cut open, measuring 12 cross 10 cross 8 centimeters, and on cut section you can see the cyst wall containing small hair. Microscopically, the most prominent feature is the lining of the cyst wall by stratified squamous epithelium and its adnexal structures such as ectoderm derivatives, that is the sebaceous glands, sweat glands and hair follicles. Various other tissue components frequently found in the teratomas are bronchus, intestinal epithelium, cartilage, bone, tooth, smooth muscles, neural tissue, salivary gland, retina, pancreas and thyroid tissue. Now here this is the benign cystic teratoma. Microscopy shows characteristic lining of the cyst wall by epidermis and its appendages, islands of mature cartilage. So you can see when you draw, you should draw the stratified squamous epithelium lining. You can see glands, you can see smooth muscles, column, you can see cartilage formed, adipocytes, that is a fat tissue, and columnar lining. And this is the microscopy of benign cystic teratoma of the ovary or dermoid cyst. You can see sweat glands. First you should draw is the epidermis lined cyst. Then you should draw hair follicles, sebaceous glands, adipose tissue, islands of cartilage and sweat glands. Now the immature and malignant teratoma, why is it called immature? They are predominantly solid tumors that contain immature or embryonal structures in contrast to the mature adult structures of the benign teratoma. They are more common in the prepubertal adolescents and young women under 20 years of age. So grossly you can see is unilateral solid mass which on cut section shows variegated appearance with areas of hemorrhage, necrosis, tiny cyst and heterogeneous admixture of various elements. Microscopically, parts of the tumor may show mature tissue while most of it is composed of immature. So whereas the mature cystic teratoma will be containing matured adult type of tissue, the malignant counterpart contains immature cells having embryonic appearance. Immature tissue elements may differentiate towards cartilage, bone, glandular structures, neural tissue and are distributed in spindle-shaped myxoid or undifferentiated sarcoma cells. Coming to the monodermal teratoma, monodermal in the name itself it consists of only one type of dermal. They are highly specialized teratomas and are rare and include only two important examples, that is a struma ovary and carcinoid tumor. That means they only contain one type of tissue. Monodermal teratoma contains only one type of tissue. So the two examples are struma ovary and carcinoid tumor. In struma ovary, it is a teratoma composed exclusively of only thyroid tissue, recognizable grossly as well as microscopically. Most often the tumor has the appearance of a follicular adenoma of the thyroid and rarely struma ovary may be hyperfunctioning and produces hyperthyroidism. Whereas a carcinoid tumor, it is an ovarian teratoma arising from the argentophin cells of the intestinal epithelium in the teratoma. Ovarian carcinoid may also hyperfunction and produce 5-HT and consequently carcinoid syndrome. And another variant is a combination of these both, that is struma ovary and carcinoid. So you should remember monodermal teratoma contains only a single type of tissue. Either it can be thyroid tissue which is known as struma ovary, or it contains the argentophin cells of the intestinal epithelium which is known as carcinoid tumor. Thank you.